The more corrupt the state, the more numerous the laws. As a matter of fact, it could rightly be said that the creation of every new law is another declaration of war against the individual. Because if that individual fails to obey the law, then another government gun will appear in his face and his pockets will be picked for his safety. Montesquieu said, "There is no greater tyranny than that which is perpetuated under the color of law and in the name of justice, or under the color of an executive order and in the name of freedom." Here is an example of a psychological operation where the social engineers try to attempt to get you to let go of principles of freedom by accepting the concept or the idea of a permit from the government. A permit is a permission slip. Let me just ask you before I read this from the U.S. Homeland Security News, whatever this is. It looks like a legitimate site because it's got 445,000 followers and very few following. Do free men need permission from any man or group of men who call themselves government agents to do things that look like freedom, like, for example, possessing a personal protection device, something that would protect you and your family without asking permission from somebody else? And don't we have a Second Amendment? Doesn't it say a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state? The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And if somebody presents the idea that you need a permission slip from government, or you need an executive order from a governor, like a president, somebody who governs or rules over or tries to rule over the rest of us, doesn't that shatter the idea of shall not be infringed? Isn't it more in concert with an infringement if you say you need an executive order to recognize a concealed carry permit? Check out what this says right here. Alert, President Trump must issue an executive order directing that all states accept concealed carry permits from all other states, reciprocity carry. Don't we have a reciprocity concept already embedded in the founding document of this country, the Second Amendment in the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights? We should be able to legally carry. If you have an unalienable right, you don't need legality. You don't recognize legality or illegality. You recognize natural rights. You have the natural right, because you are a human being, to defend yourself by any means necessary. There is no restriction on what kind of firearm you can possess or bear in the Constitution. There's no restriction at all. Matter of fact, it prohibits restriction. It prohibits infringement. Shall not be infringed can't even be more clear. We should be able to legally carry in all 50 states with a permit issued by our home state, just like a driver's license. A license is a permission slip from government to travel in your own property on the open highways. That shouldn't even exist. Permits to carry a firearm shouldn't even exist. Don't we have a supreme law of the land? And basically what U.S. Homeland Security News is saying here is that Trump should issue this executive order granting you the privilege of carrying a firearm from state to state. In essence, they're saying the Second Amendment isn't enough. The Second Amendment isn't the supreme law of the land. This executive order would be the supreme law of the land. Isn't that a redundancy? If you've already got the freedom to keep and bear arms, no matter where you are in America, why would you need a permit? It literally makes no sense at all. And by the way, just so we're clear, this Second Amendment doesn't give you any rights. It doesn't impart on you any special privileges. It just recognizes rights that you already have because you're a human being, specifically in the founding documents, because you're an American. You have, as identified in the Declaration of Independence, certain unalienable rights. They're rights that nobody can rightly give you and nobody can legitimately take from you. So the Second Amendment isn't granting or bestowing any right on you. It's just recognizing a right that you already have and the fact that nobody else has the right to take that right away, thus shall not be infringed. So any barrier between you and the grabbing or possessing of and bearing of a weapon, anything, background check, gun laws, gun registration, ammunition restriction, ammunition taxation, any closing of any loopholes, those are all infringements, whether light or heavy, whether seemingly threatening to your freedom or whether seemingly pro-freedom, which this executive order looks like it is. It looks like it's pro-freedom. It looks like something pro-gunners would be for. But what you're basically saying is, yeah, we want the government to grant us permission to do something we have a perfect right to do anyway because we're human beings. Says President Trump, the God-given right to bear arms shall not be infringed. I totally agree. But if he signs this executive order and we accept the executive order as legitimate, we're literally saying the Second Amendment isn't enough. It's impotent. It can't guarantee our freedoms, and we need an infringement executive order to declare us legal to do something we have a perfect right to do anyway because we're human beings. You know, this transcends being an American. If you as a human being don't have a right to defend yourself from aggressors or attackers, then do you really have any rights? Leave your thoughts about this. I want to hear what you have to say. This is pretty infuriating. And the fact that people are going along with this, I mean, you got people saying, look, please. U.S. Homeland Security News says, yes, make it a law. We want to keep our family safe anywhere in our country. Then you know what you do to keep your family safe? Disobey and disregard unlawful laws, extra constitutional laws, a law that would violate your right and say you need a permission slip from the federal government. I mean, this on its face, to some people who aren't freedom minded, actually think, hey, this is carving out some freedoms for America. This is great. No, you already have the Second Amendment. Why would you want something in addition to that? Are you saying Trump's executive order is the supreme law of the land? What if Biden comes along? Or Harris? But what if Harris becomes president in the next election and she says, no, I'm striking down that executive order. You need this permission slip from government. You need to show these credentials. You need to pass this background check. All infringements, by the way, just as much as this is an infringement. This just looks better. It has a better face on it. But you rip that face away and you got another demon. You got another political demon who says it's okay to infringe on the rights of the American people. But you got to accept my executive order as the supreme law of the land. That is a dangerous and tyrannical road. Leave your thoughts about this in the comments below. I will see you in the next video.